Viridian the Green Guide by My Head in the Clouds, Not Coming Down, a Boku no Hero Academia fanfic. Chapter 27 Friendships. All the confidence that Izuku felt as he ran out the door with the intentions of making a friend had slowly dissipated during his train ride to the hardware store. He didn't know if Kaminari was working today, and even if he was working, what was Izuku supposed to say to him? Hey, sorry for making me sound like a stalker, but I'm not actually here to buy anything. I just wanted you to be my friend because I'm desperate and lonely. Wanna hang out? Izuku grimaced. Yeah, that wouldn't be creepy at all. Maybe if he had an excuse to be there, he could use this as an opportunity to update his gear, right? When he'd gone out last night, had his gear been all in good shape? His pipes were fine. He hadn't needed his knife, but it was probably still sharp since he didn't actually use it all that often. And his slingshot was still good. What else did he even need? Before he could even decide, Izuku was walking through the parking lot of the hardware store. Was it too late to turn around? He shouldn't have told his mom about this, but because now there were two people who would be disappointed in him if he chickened out. Could he make up some sort of story? It would probably be a lot of work to maintain a fake friendship, but he was already leading a double life with his vigilantism, so he could do it if he needed to. But then Mom and Eraserhead would be disappointed with him for lying to them. Ugh, what was he supposed to do? He didn't know if it made it more or less awkward that he didn't even make it into the store before he saw Kaminari. His apron was thrown casually over his shoulders as he walked away from the store. So he must have just gotten off his shift. He was fiddling with his phone as he put some earbuds in. But what caught Izuku's attention was the fact that he had a USB end of his phone charger stuck in his mouth. Can you really charge your phone like that? Kaminari yelped and lost his footing as he stumbled back, wincing as he fell hard on the asphalt. Izuku ran forward to help him, panicking even more than he had been the past few months. He really couldn't do anything right, could he? I'm so sorry, Izuku said frantically as he pulled Kaminari up to his feet. I didn't even mean to ask you the question out loud. It just came out, and I was curious. But I swear I didn't mean to scare you. Now you probably think I'm really creepy because I came out of nowhere, and Kaminari cut him off with a laugh. It's no problem, dude. Nothing broken. And I wouldn't be trying for the hero course if I couldn't take a few hard knocks. He rubbed his hips where he'd fallen and chuckled awkwardly. Not that getting startled that easily was really hero-like, but, Izuku shrunk in on himself. Sorry, again. I mean, for knocking you over. Like I said, it's no big deal. Kaminari shrugged. How have you been? Is your mystery project going well? Izuku startled. Kaminari was talking about his vigilantism, even if he didn't actually know that. I actually haven't been able to work on it in a while. He held up his arm to show Kaminari his cast. So, yeah, it's kind of at a standstill. Oof, dude. Kaminari winced. Broken bones are no fun. But hey, at least you can get all your friends to sign your cast, so that's cool. Izuku shrugged sadly. Yeah, he knew that other people had their friends sign their cast. Kachan had almost the entire grade sign his cast when he broke his leg in the second grade, jumping off the top of a slide before he learned how to use his explosions to catch himself. Izuku had signed too, because Mama and Auntie Mitsuki had thought it would be cute if his best friend was the first one to sign Kaminari's cast. But when Izuku showed up to school the next day, his signature had been scribbled out with black Sharpie and silver explosions had been drawn over it. He had never tried to sign anyone's casts after that. Apparently, his silence was pretty telling, because Kaminari put his hand on his chest in exaggerated shock. Are you implying that you haven't gotten a single signature yet? That just won't do. Come here, dude. Izuku took a few steps forward, and his eyes widened as Kaminari pulled a Sharpie out of his back pocket. Guess it's pretty lucky that they make us carry these things during our shifts, right? Kaminari grinned and grabbed Izuku's arm to sign his cast, but then looked over at him, suddenly insecure. Oh, sorry, dude. I mean, you might not even want me to sign your cast, and here I am acting like an idiot, 'cause I think it's cool and... No, Izuku cleared his throat. I mean, I'd be honored if you signed my cast, Kaminari. It's just, I don't have a lot of friends. Or really any friends. And, I mean, you probably think I'm pretty lame. Izuku trailed off as Kaminari actually started writing. He signed his cast. Are you busy? Izuku blurted out before he could second guess himself again. I mean, do you want to hang out? You don't have to. I mean, just because you signed my cast doesn't mean you're obligated to like me or anything. Kaminari glanced between Izuku and the store a few times. Aren't you busy? Weren't you about to buy some stuff for your project? Well, actually... And now came the awkward part. Like I said, I haven't been able to work on it because of my arm, but I have this kind of weird, grumpy uncle, and he wants me to try to make friends. Because I don't have any, obviously. I mean, you can see that because no one signed my cast, and I didn't want to disappoint him, and you're so nice. Izuku winced. I was wondering if you wanted to hang out? So, you came here looking for me because your grumpy uncle made you promise to make friends? Kaminari asked. Yes. To his surprise, Kaminari's face split into a huge grin. That's hilarious, dude. Where do you want to go? Izuku's jaw dropped. Wait, really? You're not creeped out? And you're not too busy? Dude, I always have time to hang out, Kaminari said. Mom says I'm the definition of a social butterfly. But then again, that might just be the ADHD. He shrugged. Either way, I'm not going to say no to a new friend. Okay, Izuku said. There's a park nearby. Do you want to go there? Izuku had passed the park a few times during his vigilante hours, and at 2 in the morning, it was a fairly popular spot for drug deals. Hopefully, it was a little different when the sun was still up. It wasn't a very long walk, and Izuku didn't really know what to talk about. It had been so long since he actually had a friend that he had no idea what he was doing, and just being himself would probably scare Kaminari away, like it had everyone else. And now he was being quiet for too long, and talking would just make everything weird. But if he didn't talk, then that was even weirder, and Kaminari was actually braver than he was, because he was the one to break the silence. So what's your name, dude? I don't think you actually told me. And if you did, then I forgot. Actually, that's probably more likely. I'm kind of an idiot. I can keep calling you dude, but, usually friends know each other's names. Izuku chuckled awkwardly. Great. Yet another way he completely messed this up. It's Izuku Midoriya. Sorry. Stop apologizing, dude, Kaminari said. Is Midoriya your real name? I mean, it's a cool name and all. Don't get me wrong. But it seems a little too on the nose. With your hair and eyes and everything, you know? Yeah, Midoriya said. Green is kind of the dominant gene in my family. So I think that's where the name comes from. I don't really know. He needed to get this conversation off of him. He wasn't used to talking about himself, and it was surprisingly uncomfortable. So, with everything that happened earlier, you never actually answered my question. Can you really charge your phone by sticking the charger in your mouth? Kaminari laughed. Yeah, it works pretty well. A lot of friends at my school will use me for that, so I'm pretty used to it. It's actually kinda nice to not have to worry about a dead battery. Izuku's eyes shone as he thought about the possibilities. Does that mean your quirk is constantly producing electricity? Do you have to think about directing the electricity into the charger, or does it go there automatically? If you consciously direct the electricity, does your phone charge faster? Izuku suddenly realized he was rambling and slammed his mouth shut. So much for not being himself. Kaminari, however, didn't seem put off by his questions. Just a little intimidated. I don't have to think about it, no. But I can't actually direct the electricity I produce. It's pretty annoying, because it just builds up around my body, and I can discharge it. But it kinda just goes everywhere. He grimaced. I'm hoping UA will help me fix that. They had arrived at the park by that point, and found an empty bench to sit on. Thankfully, it was just a normal park during the day. No drug deals, or other villains in sight. That would have been pretty embarrassing. Izuku couldn't stop himself from grabbing his notebook, glad that he thought to grab his bag on the way out the door. So you can produce and discharge electricity, but can't aim it. Do you think you would be able to do that with practice, or is that just inborn limitation of your quirk? I've been trying for years, so I think that's just a natural limit. Kaminari frowned, or one of them at least. That last part was grumbled under his breath, which made Izuku even more curious. One of them? What are the others? Izuku's eyes widened as he realized that was probably a really creepy question. Not that you have to tell me. I just really like quirks, and I think they're really cool. So, I'm sorry if I'm annoying you or anything. Kaminari laughed. It's not a problem. It's just kind of an embarrassing drawback. Oh? Izuku could think of plenty of heroes that have embarrassing side effects to their quirks. In fact, there had been a kid in the sports festival just a year ago that had to do most of it naked because of his quirk's limitations. Yeah, like I said, I can discharge electricity, but if I go over my limit... Kaminari smiled awkwardly. I kinda fry my brain and turn into an idiot for a while. Izuku's mind turned over the possibility. That drawback couldn't be good for Kaminari's brain long term. Did he get headaches from it? Or did his quirk include a healing component that helped his brain recover? He'd mentioned that he had ADHD, so could that be a result of going over his limit? Probably not, but the extra electricity running through his brain would make his mind work faster than the average person, which would result in ADHD-like symptoms. Oh, Kaminari was waiting for his reaction. What's your limit? Right now? Izuku nodded, and Kaminari thought for a second. Just under 1,000,000 volts. But I'm working on raising that in preparation for the entrance exam. Izuku's eyes widened. That's really impressive, Kaminari. Kaminari grinned. You really think so? I've been kinda worried because, while my quirk is flashy, it's kinda hard to control. The electricians I've been apprenticing under have been helping me understand the whole electricity thing, but they can't really teach me quirk control, you know? Izuku nodded. Quirks are difficult like that. The only way to really know their limits is to try things out. Speaking of quirks, what's yours? Kaminari asked. I bet it's some kind of intelligence quirk, right? You're really smart. Izuku's smile faded, and he scrubbed the dirt off his toe. I don't have one? Well, at least he'd be able to tell Eraserhead that he tried. It had been nice while it lasted, and there was probably some way to get the marker off his cast, in case Kaminari didn't want to associate with him anymore. Oh, Kaminari said quietly. What's that like? Izuku looked up. Kaminari looked vaguely awkward, but in a curious way, like he didn't know how to react. Not like he was trying to figure out a way to get out of the conversation. While there was a little bit of pity, there wasn't any trace of malice or hatred like Izuku was used to from the kids at school. Was it possible that Kaminari was still giving him a chance, even after knowing he's quirkless? It sounded like almost too much to hope for. It's, Izuku shrugged. I guess I just don't know any different. Kaminari thought about that for a minute. That makes sense. I couldn't imagine having a different quirk, or not having a quirk at all. I guess it's kind of the same for you, huh? Izuku nodded. Kaminari's response was refreshingly neutral. It almost made him afraid to ask the next question. Do you hate me now? Kaminari just looked confused. Okay, I know that I'm not very smart, but why would I hate you? Because Izuku wished he had enough courage to say the truth in anything louder than a whisper. I'm useless. Kaminari frowned. Are you saying that because you're quirkless, or because of something else? Because I haven't met many quirkless people, so I have no idea if that's what you're referring to, and I don't know you well enough to figure out if you're actually worthless or not. But hey, if you don't hate me for being stupid, then I won't hate you for being useless. Deal? Izuku smiled and nodded energetically. Deal. Kaminari didn't hate him yet. He was giving him a chance. It took all of Izuku's self-control to hold back the grateful tears that were threatening to fall. But he didn't want to ruin his chance at friendship by being a crybaby. Kaminari smiled, dissipating the heavy atmosphere. So, does that mean we're friends now? Because if so, I'm gonna need your number. This time, Izuku couldn't hold back his tears, making Kaminari panic. Oh no, what did I say?